Hello and welcome to Verbling. In today's class, we're going to continue looking at the First Certificate of English exam, FCE, the English in Use section. Now, that being said, yes, these questions are directly related to that particular exam. However, these questions are strongly related to aspects of English including vocabulary, grammar, and collocation. And so these are extremely salient or important points for all English learners to be learning. So this series of classes I'm doing for 4 days. This is the second in the series. At this time slot for this week, frankly, this is a great class for all English language, second language learners, in my opinion. This is good stuff because it's overall material and it deals with the real nuts and bolts of English sentence construction. Okay. Now, we're going to do exercises and lots of them. Not a whole lot of lecture here. We are just going to practice, practice, practice. So, yes, great. I have a student. Let's get to work. Hi, Alexi. How are you?
Hello. I'm
Hello.
fine, thank you.
Terrific. Glad to hear it. Okay, this particular section of the exam we're looking at today, we're looking at what's called the open section. I don't know why it's called that. They're basically fill-in-the-blank exercises where you do not have, unlike yesterday, you had multiple choice. You would choose one of 4 words that best fit in the blank. And yesterday's multiple choice have a lot to do with collocation, verbs and prepositions, and adjectives and nouns and so forth. Today, these open or fill-in-the-blank questions are largely connective type words. That is to say, prepositions, lots of prepositions, lots of things like relative pronouns, a few conjunctions that join 2 phrases or clauses together. These types of things. The things that join phrases and clauses together, basically, connectives. These are the things that are going to be mostly the answers in these exercises. So, are you ready? Without further ado,
Yes.
shall we actually try this out? Okay. Let me throw up a screen share here. And we'll try it. Okay. Come on. All right. Let's talk about cute Newt. We're going to talk about cute Newt. Okay. What we're going to do, Alexi and whoever else enters the class, it doesn't matter if you're a little late, just come on in and join us. We're just going to take turns, 1 question at a time, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Read the information and see if we can figure out what the answer is in the blank. If we have problems, we'll kind of discuss how we might go about trying to, the best way to guess, the best strategy to try to figure out the answer. Okay, Alexi. Cute Newt. Everyone loves Newt. Well, take it from there. Go ahead. You see 0. They always give you 1 marked 0. This will be an example of what you're doing. Okay, Alexi. From here, go ahead and read.
Okay. The 3-month-old polar bear born in one of Berlin's zoos has become a star in the German capital and has won fans all over the world. It's
Uh,
all
okay. All. Your guess is all? Well, all over the world. Again, a lot of times these are part of a co-located phrase, a normal phrase, all over the world. Great. That is, and you are correct. One small thing before I let you continue, Alexei. Um, I this bear, the word
bear, bear,
bear. Yeah,
bear. It's not
yeah,
beer.
beer, polar beer. Well, I enjoy a
It's my
polar
common
beer.
mistake.
It sure is, and I understand it. It's because it has two vowels, and people try to pronounce both vowels, but actually, it's pronounced as one long A. Bear. Okay, that's it. All right, you got it. All right, might as well just plow on. Go ahead.
It's impossible not to adore the little guy, right? Well, not quite. Animal rights activists aren't so uh, in love with the polar bear baby.
Okay. Okay. In love with, and here you have to obviously know the collocation, the preposition that follows this phrase. In love, you're in love with somebody, not in love to somebody or in love for somebody. In love with, and once again, you are correct. Another, before I let you continue, and really, are we going to have anybody else join the class? Because Alexi's going to burn through all my material in half an hour. You're kicking it here. Before you continue, the word activist, first syllable stress. Activist.
Activists.
Yeah, that's it. First syllable stress. Okay, you got it. In love with is absolutely correct. Okay, let's continue.
They are concerned that Newt, who is being raised by human hand after his mother rejected him, is is in danger of losing touch with his natural identity.
Okay, once again, the strong collocation. Someone is in danger. He is in danger from something. Very much. That in is the, again, preposition, which is the strong collocation here. All right, you're doing great. So far, so good. Okay. All right, next one
Some
maybe a little harder. Okay, go ahead. I'm sorry.
some people would like to see him dead.
Apparently not that hard. Okay. Some people would like to see him dead. Wow. A little polar bear baby. That's crazy. Would. Okay. Um, all right. You got it. Again, another strongly collocated, almost colloquial. I'd like to see him dead. I would like to see him dead. Very common phrase. Okay, Alexi, please
Ra-
continue.
Raising a wild animal with hand is against animal welfare laws. Animal rights activist Frank Albrecht told the press.
Okay. Now, this one. Um, what did you say? With hand?
Yes.
Okay. Not quite right. Um, do you know any other collocations with blank hand, a preposition in hand? First of all,
Maybe in hand.
yeah, if you have something in hand, that means you have it nearby. I have $50 in hand, right? That means I have
Yes, yes.
$50 in my pocket. So That's not quite right. Raising a wild animal in hand, that's not going to work. Do you know any others? It,
I can use some other, but they I think it doesn't make sense. At hand
at
or
hand, okay. Something's close at
on
hand.
on hand on
On
hand.
hand uh,
it,
means
it just
available.
doesn't make sense.
Okay, you're right. And basically, what we're doing, Alexi and I, what we're doing together right now is actually what we would be doing if we have an answer. We're having a tough time coming up with an answer. Try to think of the co-locations. Often, I don't know. Most of these examples of this particular exercise I've seen are usually prepositions, which are strong co-locations. Actually, the answer is by hand. Raising a wild animal by hand. I had a problem with this one too, a little bit. I kept thinking from hand. That doesn't make sense either. It's thinking like from scratch, from the beginning, but that doesn't make sense. That's not it. I might use a different, how I went about it is I said raising a wild animal, something is against animal welfare laws. From scratch, and I thought from hand, no, that's not right. It took me a while to figure out they were trying to say by hand. If you do something by hand, you do it manually, right? You make a chair by hand, means you don't do it in a factory, you do it by yourself. But, so this was a little bit confusing because normally we think about making something an object, not raising an animal. So this is a little confusing. But with hand isn't really any, it doesn't have any kind of abstract meaning. With hand is only physical dictionary kind of concrete meaning, and that then in that case you would have to say raising a wild animal with your hands. So anyway, by hand is the answer. All right, let's continue.
The zoo needs to kill the bear cub, he added. Unsurprisingly, this view has not been popular uh, among the general public.
Ooh, very good. That was very good. Okay, that is the common. Okay, this is obviously one thing that you have to be aware of. What is this probably? You have to consider this. Where would you see this likely, Alexi? Like
Mm.
in a college textbook, in a newspaper, in a magazine article? What do you think?
Uh, can you repeat the question, please?
Where do you think this article, where would you read this?
Where would I, where can I read it? Uh,
Where do you think it is likely you would read this?
um,
I I don't
I
mean
don't know. In some journal about nature.
there you go. Perfect. Great answer. Okay, that was the question. Now, you could think, unsurprisingly, this view has not been popular with the general public or maybe even in the general public, but frankly, in a magazine, this type of article, the language that you would most commonly see, in fact, a little bit more formal, but not overly formal, not academic, but not informal, conversational, not super formal, somewhere in the middle. I agree with you completely. Has not been popular among the general public. It's a pretty standard phrase for magazine and newspaper writers. So one thing that will help with this particular exercise is understanding the tone of the article. The tone has to do with the degree of formality or informality, and what helps decide the tone is where do you think you would read this? And your answer is pretty much spot on, and your actual answer to the question is correct among the general public. Okay, let me quickly welcome Nader. Again, hello Nader. Welcome to the class. And Ken, hi Ken. You're welcome. Hello Ken, how are you? Ken, are you there? Ken, I can't hear you. Okay, anyway, Ken, you may have to reconnect there. Okay, let's continue. Nader, you can you're just writing for now, but go ahead and you can write the answer. I'll read the sentence for you. The next part. But Wolfram Graf Rudolph, director of the Aachen Zoo, is of the same opinion. Okay, and I would agree with you. The answer to number 7 would be of. Very good. That is a pretty standard phrase and prepositional phrase which we commonly would use. Excellent. Again, we're basically looking for kind of standard colloquial phrases, and a lot of the times preposition, not always prepositions, sometimes connectors. Okay, all right. Alexei, go ahead.
Although he feels it is now too late to put Newt out of his supposed misery.
Okay, very clearly the adverb too often comes before late, another very strong collocation. It's too late. All right, great. I agree. And Ken, are you now connected?
Yes, I'm connected now.
Okay, super. Well, you get the last sentence of this particular piece.
Okay.
Oh, no, it's not. Last sentence of the paragraph. Go ahead.
They should blank had the courage to kill him much earlier. Should have had.
Very good.
Mm-hmm.
Here we got to know a little verb tense. Okay, this is called a perfect modal. Sure. Should have had. Okay. Yes. All right. So you have to know the auxiliary verb. Great. This is absolutely correct. This is a wild story here, actually. The irony is not lost on me. The animal rights activist wants to kill the bear to save the bear from losing its natural nature identity. Brilliant. It's like New York City police when they kill someone who's about to commit suicide to prevent them from committing suicide. That makes about as much sense. I love that logic. How do human beings even have that logic? Okay, anyway, Alexei, continuing.
The zoo reports that little Newt is becoming a bit of a handful as he gets bigger.
Mm-hmm. Very good. Here is another type of answer, mostly.
Maybe it, not he.
Well, okay. Do we know he's a he?
What?
The little guy. Yes, we do. I was wondering if we actually know that he's a male, and we do. Okay. Now, this is a good question. Okay, couple things here. All right. First of all, okay, up to now we've been looking at mostly prepositions that co-locate with the rest of the sentence. I think we had one, maybe a relative pronoun or something. Okay, a verb tense, auxiliary verbs. These are the kinds of things we're looking for in this English in use open question. Here we have a pronoun, a reference pronoun. The question is, are we going to use he or it? If I was faced with this question, because sometimes animals we can refer to as he or it, usually if we know nothing about the little varmint, then it's it. But if we have enough personal information about it, we would say he.
Okay.
Exactly. Nader's onto something. Exactly what I was going to say. I would look back and see if they have referred to him as him, or he as a he. Okay. Where is it? His mother rejected him. There you go. They have already, right, got it. His mother, okay, possessive pronoun, rejected him, okay, object noun. Well, there you go. They've already set the precedent of referring to him as he. So there you go. Your first answer, definitely correct.
Okay.
He. Okay, so that's what you need to do in that situation. It's easy enough to check. Okay, Nader, number 11. A bit of a handful as he gets bigger, suggesting that the bear is maybe not as human, blank, some people fear. Crazy. As human as, yes. A little bit tricky here. This is a very standard structure as as adjective as something. This is standard. Simile structure. It's a type of analogy we use as a comparison to describe something. In this case, it's tricky because your adjective is human. They're actually using human as an adjective. Very funny. There. Yeah. Okay, so that's the structure. A little hard to identify because nobody thinks of human as being an adjective. But it is. Here it is. Definitely. It can be, rather, and here it most certainly is. Ken, you do get the last sentence. Okay?
His keeper is covered with bruises, which shows that Nat has discovered he's a bear, the zoo's management.
Well, okay. His keeper is covered with bruises. Okay, that is correct. Covered with is the collocation with the verb. Again, we got a preposition co-located with the verb. Yeah, that's it. I don't know. His keeper is covered with bruises, which shows that his keeper's spouse is somewhat abusive. Huh? Okay. I'm not so sure that it has anything to do with the bear. I didn't see the bear hit him. Anyway, yeah, you got it. That's it. Okay. Well, that was a somewhat crazy story. Let's try another one. All right. Let's see if we can zip through another one here. Whoops. Gone way too far. Oh. There we go. Okay. Oopsie. Look, Spider-Man. Okay, here we go. Here we go. We're going to talk a little bit about Leonardo da Vinci. All right. As always, in this English in use open question, actually every section, when they present a section, they'll give you a 0 blank, so you kind of get the idea of what they're looking for. Leonardo da Vinci was a man before his time and was considered to be a genius. Sorry, Nader, don't quite understand your question. You always ask this question. Hmm? Oh, okay. Oh, I see. I see what you're saying. A man before his time. Oh, okay. Yeah, okay, right. I didn't even notice it. The phrase, a man ahead of his time, is definitely more normal in English, although this particular version really it means the same thing, serves the same purpose. A man before his time. Uh, it means exactly the same thing. I didn't really notice it because, yeah, I do recognize it. I would say a man ahead of his time, um, for sure. But obviously the meaning is the same. Yeah, it's all right. Okay, Alexei, here we go. Starting from he became. Hmm.
Leonardo da Vinci was a man before his time and was considered to be a genius. He became renowned for his multiple talents. He was a painter, uh,
Mm-hmm.
architect, engineer, mathematician, and inventor.
That's it. This answer for number one, very simple. He was A, and that's it. You got it right. Very good. All right, Nader, thanks for stopping by. See you next time. That's it. So, once again, here the answer may be as simple. The answers are usually simple function words, prepositions, auxiliary verbs, articles. All right, that's basically what you're looking for in this type of exercise. Ken, take over.
Yeah, he was born in Vinci, outside the northern Italian city of Florence, in 1452.
That's easy. This one's too easy. Okay, there's only one city of Florence, or Vinci, rather. There's only one city of Florence as well, but um, oh yeah, well, there's only one city of Florence. Okay, outside the northern Italian city of Florence. Very important that you just English note. Outside Florence, when you say a city like in Vinci, we don't use an article. We don't use the before any city name. However, if you're using all these northern Italian, city, we're not talking about Florence, so the city. We do use the before city. Okay. All right. Very good. Okay, Alexei from Weil.
While he was at school, his teachers quickly noticed his curiosity and his inquiring mind, even going so far as to complain with his endless questions.
Period. Okay. Uh, okay. Complain. Complain with. I think that's right. I need to complain. Try to form some other sentences with complain with. Are they gonna? I need to complain with the bathroom. It's dirty, too dirty. I need to complain. Is that the word you use? Think about forming some other sentences and see if your idea works. Alexei, does that work? I need to complain with the bathroom because it's too dirty.
Uh, no, I
No.
need to complain to bathroom.
Ah, you're going to complain to the bathroom. So you're going to say, bathroom, I have to tell you something. uh, no, you don't complain to the bathroom. You complain to your wife. You complain to the
Okay.
boss. You complain to a person. Transfer of information from one to another. Two is about transferring something, whether it's a physical object moving or information moving. Nope. And with means together with something. So you're not going to complain with the bathroom or complain with his endless questions. You complain with your best friend together about the bathroom. That's not going to work. And there I just gave the answer away. You complain about something.
Okay.
Another possible strategy when these are very, very common, verb, some after a verb, probably a preposition. You're probably looking for that collocation. Instead of his endless question, okay, this is obviously a noun, object noun. So instead of sometimes the actual information can confuse us, here's another strategy. Just say, complain blank something. Okay, all right. His teachers complained some blank something. Well, that may help you complain about something. You complain about something. The answer is about. Okay, Ken, from number 4, starting with a blank.
As a youngster,
Okay, as a youngster. Yeah, I can't even imagine anything else that you would imagine would go there. All right. Okay, well, that was easy and quick. All right, we'll come back to you in just a second, Ken. Alexi?
He
Yeah, yeah.
he have also discovered to have a talent for drawing.
Well, you're on the right track. Trying to
Had
use it. Had. Uh, okay. Uh, Now, here's the problem with that. Had discovered means that when we use
before
present,
some
yeah, before something else, past perfect. So before what? There's nothing else. It's not saying there's no other action that he discovered a talent for drawing before. Okay.
but we cannot use here have because he is dead
Nope.
now. Yes.
Because he's dead now. Very good. Can't use present perfect. He's not going to be discovering anything else. That's right. Exactly.
He
What other auxiliary is possible before discovered? Tricky, tricky. This is very tricky.
as a youngster is he is discovered.
Okay, now you're on the right track. Here
Uh,
you go.
he was discovered.
Yeah, okay. Tricky. All right, the action happened to him. He was discovered to have a talent. Aha. There you go. Discovered here might seem to be a past tense, but in fact it's a past participle, and they are looking for a passive. In the examples of this exam that I have seen, they frequently try to sneak in one passive construction to see, obviously, to see if the student can recognize a passive construction. And they're tricky, of course, because you don't really know if the main verb is a past tense or a past participle or what. Okay, so there it is. You got it. Okay, Ken.
okay, on reaching his 14th birthday, Leonardo was apprenticed to Verrocchio, a master painter and sculptor, Blanc Studios. and workshops were in the city of Florence. The studio, the
Thus,
studios.
okay. Well, why would you say the studios? They've never been mentioned before.
Yeah, my masterpiece sculpture. Uh, ah, uh, whose studio?
What? Uh,
Who?
you,
Which?
oh, you're so close. You have the
Where?
right idea. You completely have the right idea. Okay. What's his name? Who's
Whose?
Verrocchio? There
Yeah,
you go, Verrocchio. And
whose studios and workshops?
there you go. That's it. All right. The somewhat rarely used possessive relative pronoun.
Oh,
So,
really? It's who is more common in America now?
well, no. Who the man who sold me the car is crazy. That's referring to the man. But the the car whose owner. Okay,
Mhm,
it's used to show possession. That's the
mhm,
idea.
mhm,
So Verrocchio possesses the studios and workshops.
mhm.
So we just don't have. It's not used. It's rarely used because it's rarely needed. That's all.
Ah, I see. Okay.
It's fallen out of favor or popularity. I'm just you don't need to use it very often. Okay, but that's it. All right, very good. And Ken, feel
Mhm.
free to give me a little Italian accent there.
Leonardo Valentino.
Ah, Pinocchio. There you go. All right. All right, there you go. That's nice. That's what I'm talking about. Alexei. Okay. From at the age.
At the age of 26 he became his own master and 4 years later moved to Milan to work for the Duke there.
Okay. Time, words. Okay. You might consider, you might have thought 4 years after. Okay. Many people confuse their time phrases, but I think this is very clearly later, 4 years later. Very good, Alexei. You got it. I want to read one. I'm going to read one with no answers. He traveled between Florence and Milan for most of his life, starting many paintings and sculptures, but often not completing them. I did not know that. Okay, Ken?
In his last years, he moved to France, where he died in 1519 at the age of 67.
Okay, you just have to understand this construction. Very common construction at the age of 67. Obviously, this is a very specific and known age, so we use the. All right, that's an easy one. Alexei.
He is widely regarded as one of the greatest painters in the world.
Very good. And you have to understand this construction in conjunction with the superlative est. This is very common. The and then the est adjective. Very common construction. One of the greatest. All right. Good job. Two of his paintings, The Last Supper and the Mona Lisa, occupy positions as the most famous, most reproduced, and most copied artworks of all time. Okay, Ken.
As an engineer and inventor, he was ahead of his time.
Okay, again, recognizing that phrase which Nader and I discussed at length earlier in the class. So, yeah, there it is. Again, ahead of his time, a man before his time. Okay, these are extremely similar. They mean the same thing. Alexei.
Only long after he died The people realize how advanced he had been in his thinking.
Okay, I would opt for another. This is a tricky one because this is a little bit more obscure, a little bit less often used. This is pretty formal, and this goes back to what we talked about earlier, Alexi, understanding, pardon me, understanding where you would read this. This might be some kind of introductory information. It's a little bit more formal, the tone here. This doesn't seem like definitely not a newspaper article, or I don't even think a magazine article. This is a little bit more in an academic style, so a little bit more formal. You may not have heard this particular type of phrasing, but I'll just say it. Only long after he died did people realize how advanced. So the whole thing, only long after he died, is being used as a time clause. Sorry, not even a clause. Well, yeah, okay, it is a time. Yeah, it is a time clause. Yeah, phrase and clause. Okay, it's very confusing because you have did people realize.
So that did the meaning, the reinforcement of the meaning? Because
Yeah,
can be
that's yeah.
said people
Yes.
realized. Okay, did okay. People do realize.
Yeah,
Okay.
obviously you could straightforwardly write after he died people realized, right? That would be a
Okay.
much simpler and more straightforward
Mhm.
way to say the same thing. This is a little bit of a fruity little poetic license type of way to
Okay.
phrase things. The only way you would know this is if you've run into it before because you've read academic writing. I recognize this immediately, but only because I'm familiar with it as an entire type of phrase. And you only recognize it because of the tone of the writing, understanding that this is a little bit fancy pants, formal, academia style. Yeah. Okay, that's a tough one, and it would be very difficult to logic out if you didn't recognize it, honestly. Okay, Ken, last one here.
He drew up designs for machines that would only be invented centuries after his death, belong as a helicopter, a calculator, and tank, such as.
Very good. All right. To introduce, obviously, to introduce examples. Okay. Great job. And we still have time for more. So let's do more. All right. Let's do I got an official copy here of the exam. Let's try this one. Okay. Trying to get the screen share button to work. Come on. All right. Okay. Young enterprise. All right. All right, Alexi, you're on again. You can go ahead and try the 0-1. Why not?
How prepared are you for nearest future?
And no. Even if it was nearest, we would need another word in front of it.
The nearest.
The future. The future. The nearest future. One thing on this particular.
For your future. For your future.
For your future. Or
Yeah.
for. Okay, for your future. Or for the future. That's a tough one. Okay. Actually, what is the answer? It is the future. Here's the 0. In the actual test, it looks something like this. You'll have a section, how many questions. The overall test has about 40, 42 questions. Only one word for each gap. There's no case of 2 words or a phrase. In the actual test, you write 1 letter in each block in order to answer the question. Okay, for the future. That's a tough one because your or the could have fit here. That was difficult. Ken, can you take over from you are studying?
Okay, you're studying to obtain qualifications for your chosen career, but what is getting the business skills necessary to make your career a success? What are getting? What is?
No.
What
Uh,
getting? Before getting, not beaver.
No.
well, okay. Here's something you can recognize. Recognize that this is a question. All right.
Mhm.
Again, this a little bit has to do with tone and what style of article you're reading. But I don't think this is a real question because this is written material. This is a rhetorical question.
Mhm.
Okay, so statement, you're doing this, but are you doing this?
Getting the skill necessary. What? What? Uh, what makes you? What you make? Will.
Yeah.
Oh,
Okay.
getting.
Okay. I'm trying to think about
How?
how to give you a clue so that you could get this, but I can't think of how to do it. Alexei, do you know?
What about?
Yeah, there you go.
I see.
But what about getting the business skills? So you're studying to obtain qualifications, but what about the business skills? All right, you're doing this, but what about that? Pretty okay. Kind of a standard approach to, I don't know. I guess it's kind of a contrast. All right, Alexei, can you continue?
How do you gain the advantage which will get you your dream job?
Okay. Now, actually, even I'm interested in the answer to this because, Alexei, you're not wrong. But I want to point out.
I can use here that.
That's
That
right.
will get you.
That's right. Which is more appropriate? Which or that? I am not even sure I know the answer until I read more so I can understand, again, the tone. Which is slightly more formal than that. Okay?
Okay.
I don't know. Maybe we'll have to think about that if I were taking the test, I wouldn't write down my answer yet. I'd wait until I got a fuller picture of what the tone was. How formal is this? So before the class is over, we'll check though, because I'm not sure I know the answer. Ken, next one.
Perhaps you even have an ambition to set on a business yourself.
No, well, this is straight up a phrasal verb. Obviously, the infinitive form of a phrasal verb.
Mhm.
No, you don't set on a business.
Uh, set up a business.
Yes, to start a business, you set up a business. That's right. Okay, lots of rhetorical questions. However, I hate this style, to be perfectly honest. But I am starting to recognize this style a horrible as being a really poorly written academic style. Okay. In which case, if it's academic, I would choose which instead of that. I'll make sure we check. Remind me before the class is over. All right, Alexei, starting from 16.
During yes, since 2007, when the Young Enterprise program began, Hundreds of thousands of young people have gained a head start while they are still at school by taking part in the program.
Another phrasal verb. You take part in something, participate. What did you say here? I'm confused with 16, frankly. Yeah, maybe there's a typo.
Typo.
Yeah, a typo on the page, a mistake. I don't get that one. Now I'm confused. All right, we're going to have to check 16. What did you say, Alexei?
During
During years, but you even said years, which it just says year. So I'm curious if this is a typo here. All right, we'll have to take a look because I can't think of anything. Obviously, there has been many years since 2007. Unless this article was written in 2008, and then it would be the year since 2007. It's strange. Okay. Anyway, all right. Ken, try the next sentence here.
There they have gained by key business skills and knowledge, either through a series of workshops or through starting and running their own real company.
All right. Practical connectives, conjunctions. This is another thing they usually look for. Okay. Yes, this has to be or. Certainly. Okay, Alexei, how about the next one?
At Young Enterprise, we believe that it is important for learning to something exciting. Yes?
Yeah, it is important. Well, not something. Something isn't the answer. It's important for learning to exciting, fun, and hands-on.
To be learning
Ah,
to be exciting, fun, and hands-on.
there you go. Okay. Ken, can you finish off the sentence?
Which is on our programs, on the principle of learning by doing.
Which is blank. Our programs are run on the principle of learning by doing.
Or which is offered our programs.
No. Okay.
Prepositional verbs.
Well, I can consider the message. It's always helpful to simplify. Simplify. All of these exams, simplify. Okay, learning should be fun. Simplify and rephrase it yourself. We think learning should be fun, which is blank. Our programs are run in a certain way.
Should be fun.
We think this, which is something. We do this.
Which is something we do this. Fun. Which is.
Okay, I think sugar is, think of other examples. I think sugar is delicious, which is blank. I put it on my cereal.
Tasty, which is sweet.
Yeah.
Tasty.
Yeah, there's nothing to do with the content. All these answers have to do with the function words, the grammatical constructions. So don't worry about nouns and adverbs and adjectives and verbs. They will not be the answer for sure. No, I was just trying to give you a practical, completely different example. Okay, I think sugar is sweet, which is why I put it on my cereal. Okay.
Which is why our programs are.
There you go. All
Okay.
right. All right. We are out of time, so I have to double check. I'm gonna guess, put it all on the line, that number 14 is which was Alexi's first answer. And I have no idea what 16. Well, let's take a quick check what 14 and 16 were. All right. Part 2. 14, that or which would be okay. Look at that. All right. We would be right either way. Ah, okay. 16 each or every year. Okay. That was not coming to my brain. I was having a mental collapse there. Each year since 2007. It is not a typo. Each year or every year. So, okay, beware of that one. That was a tricky one. I didn't get that one either. Okay, gentlemen, thank you. Thank you very much for participating in the class.
Thank you for the lesson.
Thank you, Alexei. Thanks a lot. And Ken, hopefully you guys will come back tomorrow. We'll do a similar but completely different type of FCE English in use question. Bye-bye.